Only lady I rely on to give me this update is Olamide Odekule, and she's standing by. Good morning, Olamide.
Good morning, Ria. I must say you flatter me. I must say you flatter me. There's lots of things trending now. Shall I dive what into people are talking about today?
Take it away.
Good morning, Nigeria. I always say that TVC has a finger on the pulse and an eye on the street. And here on the Trending Now segment, we do our best to bring you trending stories that are shaping the world that you and I live in. We begin today with some money talks, where the Central Bank of Nigeria is tightening the screws on point-of-sale operators. In a new circular, the CBN has ordered all POS devices to be geotagged within 60 days or risk being shut down. This means that every machine must now carry GPS coordinates showing exactly where it operates. And merchants will only be able to process payments within a 10-meter radius of their registered business address. The Apex Bank says that it wants to crack down on fraud, clone terminals and ghost devices while making transactions more traceable in real time. But the challenge is that Nigeria now has an estimated 2 million POS agents across the country, and upgrading every terminal with built-in GPS and syncing them to the national central switch in just 2 months will be a massive task. It's important to note that POS is a vital part of our financial ecosystem, and especially in rural areas where banks are far away or communities are underserved financially. So it'll be interesting to see how CBN makes it easier on POS operators. Their demands are altruistic. They are trying to clamp down on fraud. But let's take a look at social media. Genevieve Mbama says, praise God. Very good one, CBN. I recommended this in one of the conferences that I presented our AI-powered anti-fraud solution. I explained that without geotagging, fraudsters who gain access to POS terminals will continue, and that any POS without geotag should be automatically disabled from the POS platform leveraging AI. I hope CBN monitors the implementation. And Jane Orumen says, what difference will this directive make? We have our SIMs registered with NIMC and telecom companies, but kidnappers are still conveniently using their phones to make calls and demand ransom. How many of them have to be tracked and arrested? No be by directive, now willpower and sincerity of purpose. And the Lighthouse replied to that. They said, this mandate addresses a different issue from what you are raising. And this level of thinking is poor. It's a solution to curb crime. Celebrate it first. CBN Temper Justice with Mercy. A conference where the former Minister of Education, Dr. Ezekwesili, electrified the Nigerian Bar Association's annual conference in Enugu with a passionate speech. She told lawyers that they hold the real power to shape the rule of law, deciding what is punished and what is rewarded in Nigeria. She also urged them to use that power to protect ordinary citizens and reward hard work, not corruption. She also warned against the dangerous mindset that politics is a shortcut to wealth, challenging lawyers to stop trading the legal profession to politicians. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at it, Ms. Obi, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili.
But I do know that I know some of you, and you're some of the best minds that we have in this society. So, stop trading this profession. Stop giving this profession over to a bunch of lousy politicians that want to destroy generations here and unborn. Don't invite me again. Even if you invite me, I may not come again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Very interesting. Dr. Obi Ezekwesili is known to be a devout truth teller, and it is true, lawyers are very, very important. They're not just the courtroom advocates, they are guardians of justice, and they do have a say in how our moral duties are upheld. But let's take a look at social media. Fortunate Oziak says, Madam Obi Ezekwesili telling lawyers the bitter truth. The truth is that the Nigerian status quo is a disgrace, and corrupt lawyers should all be ashamed of themselves for the role they have played in enabling an immoral system. There are many concerns about lots of people attempting to buy the judiciary, but what do I know? Team, I want to focus on this CBN issue. How are they able, while trying to prevent fraud and make sure that fraud is being handled, while taking it easy on the POS operators and making sure that their ecosystem is not disrupted, and indeed our ecosystem in using POSs isn't disrupted?
I'm happy with what the CBN has been doing lately, introducing different reforms and ensuring that the financial system, the financial institution is sanitized. Fine, there are some places, there are some unbanked, there are some places that they don't have access to banks, when it comes to making deposits, withdrawing some monies and all of that. So that is why we are having these POS operators filling these gaps. But at the same time, some of them move from one place to the other where they still make use of this device. It's meant to be geolocated. You should be able to say, yes, this transaction is made at this location. If you go to the ATM and you withdraw some amount of money, you will see on the receipt where you withdrew the money and where the transactions actually took place. So it should be the same for these POS operators, because some people have been robbed, some people have been, houses have been bungled, some people have been kidnapped, and then some are also, they've been made to even, withdraw money under duress. So imagine a robber coming to a place, or someone, maybe even police officers. I've heard of some police officers who had forced some of their victims, to use the POS, at different locations. So if you do this in a place that you've registered, that you know that, yes, this is my location, this is where my shop is, and this is where I do my operations. If you move from that place, a few meters away from there, then it should stop working. So if an armed robber comes to your house and saying that, okay, you have to use this POS, send some money into this account, then you know that the distance will be there, so you won't be able to use it. So if it happens, then you know that, yes, this is where this has taken place. So I think it's kudos to this CBN for bringing this up, and they must do it. So it's not enough for them to give these policies or directive. It is another thing for the willpower for them to follow it through. Talk about the second story. Obi Ezekwesili. She is a strong voice when it comes to former Minister of Education, strong voice when it comes to charging people to doing the right thing, fixing policies and all of that. I may not agree with her on so many occasions, but on this, I strongly put my weight behind her, asking the lawyers, this profession should not be for sale. Ditto every other profession, journalism, presentation, etc. It should be the people who are well-trained, to lead the cause when it comes to advocating issues, cases for people in the court of law, so that we do not have charge and bail lawyers, standing in front of judges and saying that they are helping, people to fight for their rights.
All right, and I'll pick up from the POS story. Olamide, don't laugh at me. POS has shown me shaggy. So, CBN, I think they need a lot of cold water for this. But I just hope that it's not one of those things that we hear. I hope that it can be put into place. It's a fantastic idea. So right now, if you're at one spot, you remain at one spot. Because trust me, Olamide, you see them here today, tomorrow you see them here, tomorrow you see them there. So there's no accountability. If anything happens, you go to that location. They just used to be under an umbrella. You find out that the umbrella is not there, nothing is there anymore. And a lot of fraud has happened with POS. So I think this is a fantastic idea. All I pray for is that it should be put into implementation. It's not just one of those things that we say and we do not see it happen. And we as journalists, I hope we follow through with this and make sure that it finally happens. And then let's talk about Dr. Obi. I love her so much. Contrary to Ibrahim, I agree with everything she says. I love her energy. I feel like me and her, we kind of have the same energy. And what she said is the best, not just in law, in journalism, in any work you do, you need to be true to it. You should not sell the principles of your job. And as lawyers, you have a job to always speak the truth. So it's so sad if we now get to see lawyers that are now bending due to different reasons, finance, etc. But she is saying that stay true to what you do, and to journalism, to banking, whatever you do, stay true to it.
I attended one of the schools. I'm an alumna of one of our schools. Fixed policies.
Okay.
School of Politics, Policy and Governance. She's the founder of the school. Yeah. She's taught me several times in different classes. But I do not agree with most of the things that she says, maybe on TV or anyway, even in classes. But I was only saying that on this particular issue, I agree with her.
I love her, so
absolutely.
I have to agree with everything.
I love the fact that you both raised issues that this shouldn't just apply to the legal or the judiciary. It should apply to every profession. But I think a lot of times implicitly we're not aware that we're selling our profession. We make alliances, we build networks, and over time an agenda is set through us implicitly. So it's just something to think about. Thank you both for your submissions.
Right.
Moving on into the world of politics, Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate Peter Obi has threatened to sue activist and lawyer Adeyanju over what he calls a series of false and damaging posts on social media. Obi, through his lawyer, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Alex Ejezieme, accused Adeyanju of using his X and Facebook pages to brand him corrupt, fraudulent, and even a religious bigot. The legal team says that these posts, some dating as far back as 2022, were meant to tarnish Peter Obi's image and mislead Nigerians. Among the claims Adeyanju made were that Obi diverted state funds into foreign businesses, he tried to bribe him after a private meeting allegedly, and he used religion to sway voters in the 2023 election. And Obi's team is insisting that these are false, malicious, and contrived claims, and they've caused untold damage to his reputation at home. Is now demanding that Deji Adeyanju must delete all the posts, publicly apologize on social media, and publish apologies in 3 national newspapers. If not, Peter Obi says that he will see him in court, seeking damages and injunction and heavy legal costs. But Deji Adeyanju is not backing down. In a post on Twitter, he dismissed this ultimatum and said, I will see you in court. A big energy, I will say. That's what the Gen Z says. As a politician, politics can be sometimes a dirty game, a game of shifting optics and shifting agendas. And so you've got to grow thicker skin and show your workings in your policies and your governance, and not on Twitter. But let's take a look at social media. What do I know? Comrade, this is a tweet from Deji Adeyanju. He says, I just got this letter from Peter Obi, the religious bigot, demanding a retraction from me. Strong words. I laughed so hard. I can't wait to meet him in court finally. A fraud parading himself as a messiah. This same guy called the Great Showore a blackmailer in chief. We served his little errand girl, Sarah, a letter to retract all her defamatory publications on Monday against my wife, and she ran to the leader of the mob for help. I can't wait to meet him in court. Sarah is his Peter Obi's public relations officer, for some context. Ladi Kudayisi says, the worst has been said to our president. He never wrote a letter to anyone. Doing this, Peter Obi is digging his political grave. To be a leader and be successful, you will be called all manner of names and abuse. I think that he should withdraw this letter. I'll take 2 more submissions quickly. Way of Man says, I feel this is a trap to drag Peter Obi into the dirty Nigerian legal system mud. PO should retrace, I beg. Deji no reach to be getting this attention at all. And finally, Olajide Adebi had this to say. He said, if actually Obi is suing this guy because of this, then he is not a seasoned politician and does not deserve to be the president. Politics is a dirty game, and you need to keep cool. Kudos to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for being a maestro of the game. Sometimes silence speaks the loudest. But moving on into international news, 2 high-profile convictions are making headlines in Equatorial Guinea. First, Baltasar Ebang Ngonga, once the head of the country's financial investigation agency, has been sentenced to 8 years in prison and fined $220,000 for embezzlement. He was found guilty of diverting travel funds for personal use, and he was nicknamed Bello, if you remember, and you recall that he became notorious after sex tapes involving him and several women leaked online. Some of these women reportedly filmed right inside his ministry office. But his trial also included 5 other senior officials who were accused of mismanaging public funds running into hundreds of thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, Roslan Obiang Nsue, one of the sons of the long-ruling president Teodoro Obiang, in power for 46 years, was also convicted of illegally selling, get this, a national airline to a plane to a Spanish company and pocketing the proceeds for himself. The court also handed him a 6-year jail term, but they gave him the option of avoiding prison if he repays about $255,000 to the airline, plus damages. But prosecutors are pushing a far stiffer 18-year sentence and a fine of nearly $850,000. I'm going to take 4 tweets. This is Equatorial Guinea. It's hot right now, the scandal. Chuka says they also need to put all the women he impregnated in jail. They are all cheaters and they destroyed homes. Everybody involved needs to be in jail. Let the state take care of those kids. Dear Nigerians says, Dear Nigerians, could this happen in Nigeria? However, someone said that he was being a scapegoat of corruption just because he slept with all of their wives. This is a bit scandalous for a breakfast show, but I'll proceed. Paul Kreitovate says, Baltasar Ebang Ngonga's 8-year sentence, a pathetic slap for looting Equatorial Guinea's coffers. The sex tape drama is just a distraction from the real corruption. Justice? More like a rigged show. And finally, Dennis Ojua says, on more, people get doings. So person get myself country plane. Team, I am going to focus on this Equatorial Guinea story. It's very interesting to see that the court has given the young man, the son of the president, the option of paying a fine of $255,000. But if where is he going to get that money as the president's son? It makes you wonder. It's a bit of a conflict of interest.
Come on. If you had been accused of selling the national plate, why shouldn't you get back the money and return it to the coffers?
But where is he going to get it from, ideally?
If you sell something, there's a process for it now. You get the money back and then...
From the account.
Stop playing the devil's advocate on me. It's very interesting story coming out from Equatorial Guinea. In the news again for the wrong reason. I do not know what is wrong with African continents where we have we talk about sit-tight syndrome, we talk about coups, we talk about corruption, etc., etc. Come on, when are we going to take care of ourselves in order to position ourselves as yes, it's a very strong and viral continent that is, but then. Let's see what happens afterwards. Talking about the Adeyanju and Peter Obi, I think it's a family family feud, and they will one way or the other. Yes, domestic issue, and they one way or the other, solve the problem. Because back there in 2022, 2023, the Adeyanju, told Peter Obi, come on, you need to leave the PDP, join the Labour Party, and run. So it was. He threw his weight behind him at the time. I do not know what happened that, it's now becoming a fierce fight, fight to finish kind of a thing. But we might want to, one way or the other, also blame the obedience, because when they see that people criticize their quote-unquote messiah, they will always go for your jugular. They always do everything to ensure that they bring you down. And this gets to some people. They don't know how to hold it. And they begin to, spew a whole lot of things. Imagine the Adeyanju accusing Peter Obi of corruption, etc. If you allege some things, the burden is on you to prove that, yes, is guilty of all of these things. And, sometimes Peter Obi might make some claims, might say some things, and then you feel, absolutely. Yes, come on, some of these things that you're saying, are you sure you have proofs for them? But they always tell you, go and verify. So absolutely. Both of them should verify whatever allegations. They should not drag us into it.
At this point, but let me start with the Equatorial Guinea story. And Olamide, I think I'll have some Guinea fowl for this story because it's too hot in Guinea. But I want to talk about Balthazar. Did I get that name right?
Yes, you did.
He did a lot. That man, when I see him, first of all...
We are doings.
I feel like he did something bad, he should serve his time. Even the president's son, they should not put any fact of bail. He should not bring any money. He should be there. I feel like when people experience it, when they come out, they will not try to be corrupt again. So those two people, they should be in jail. They should serve their time fully, especially you know who. But let me move on to the story about Deji and Peter Obi. Deji has been a very vocal person on social media, very fearless. I'm quite a fan of a few things that he writes. What I want to say to Peter Obi and the obedience is that if someone says something about you and it's not true, it shouldn't hurt you. Let it pass. Like you said, Olamide, a lot of things have been said about our president. What have they not said about him? By the end of the day, you do not see him dragging anybody, to court on issues like this. Deji has said what he had to say about you. If it's not true, it's not. You don't need to press anything, And obedience as well. When you see them, talking about their messiah, you're like, calm down. He said something. If it's not true, why do you have to stress
Absolutely. And sometimes I worry, I feel bad for our courts. They must be so inundated with so many defamation claims that never go anywhere. But
I think no one should allow defamation to slide.
Exactly.
If some things are said against you and you know that they are not true, and it's going to paint you in a very bad light, I think you can press charges.
Exactly. But he needs to understand as well, politics is a dirty game. Things will be said.
No, don't spare my names. Let's spare politics, but don't smear my names.
I'm sure Deji is not afraid to go to court.
I think he should focus on the upcoming elections. But what do I know? I'm going to take some more.